to the MPC Markets Morning Call, 6th of January 2026. Happy New Year to all of those. This is my first one for the year. Been out touring in Western New South Wales and visiting clients and friends and things. So a bit of an interesting trip, but I hope everyone had a great Christmas and great New Year. So yeah, we've started the year fairly solid overall. I think the Venezuela thing was obviously quite a shock there, and but I think markets are sort of now starting to see that there are some benefits, albeit that the way in which these benefits have come around is not as we would prefer in the world and geopolitics, etc. The Nikkei and China were up yesterday. Aussie still disappointing, but look, I mean, Euro stocks, Dow was up about 1.25, S&P 0.59, but was led by financials, and it was led by financials and energy overall, and we. Yeah, but really what that is mainly about is the fact that you've got a situation where potentially a whole bunch of oil is going to be freed up in the Sorry, we had a little bit of a disconnect there. A whole bunch of oil is going to be freed up in the world, and we will largely have, that could potentially be good for economic conditions. So yeah, we really are looking at it. It's not a great way to start the year with the geopolitical issues. The market, like I said, I think it's survived fairly well. I don't think long term it's going to be great for oil prices or energy companies, but we'll go through a few little bits and pieces here at the end, once we sort of, once we have a look at these commodities, etc. So gold was up, but it's down sort of for the week. Silver made a massive comeback, but I think copper big time was the big winner overnight, up 5% through 13,000, through $6 a pound in the US on COMEX, and we've got really. I think that scramble for energy and copper and commodities just generally in hard assets still does come through. I mean, crude made a bit of a bounce back last night, but overall, I think because Trump tamed down his comments a little bit on the back of, where they were going to run the country, etc. But they have put a new president in Venezuela overnight, and it doesn't just look like just a complete takeover overall. But this generally does tend to happen in geopolitical issues. Is there's a scramble for commodities. And locking down supply chains. So that's where you've got all these jump here in silver, copper, platinum, and lithium. Well, a small amount of lithium, but I think it just sort of, you'd be pretty happy with a 4% lithium rally. It's just that the bar charts make the scale look a little bit different. Bitcoin's rallied a touch as well. Venezuela's currency probably not the best, but there was some pretty positive comments from Jamie Dimon out of JP Morgan on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency overall about it being through the testing phase. I think that may have buoyed it somewhat. And yeah, we're just going to give a little bit of context here. Obviously, Venezuela has the largest oil reserves in the world, but and I don't think many people know that a lot of it has been locked up in sanctions, etc. That's why there's a lot of interest around it, particularly. And as you can sort of see here, Canada being a big one, but look, Iraq, previous presidents, weapons of mass destruction, etc. Trump's just dispensed with with the excuses and just called it instruction. He didn't really attempt to do much of a PR job in terms of trying to pretend that they were pretending around the drugs thing. But and it was interesting to see when I did a little bit of a deeper dive that illicit drugs